Good morning from Colorado. This is Lynda Cromar, and I'm bringing to you a motivational message like I always do. And this is one of the ones that I really feel will really help you. Everyone really wants to shine. They don't want to fail. And so we're going to talk today about how so many people just kind of get stuck because they're so afraid to fail. And coming from, tell me where you're coming from. Welcome, everybody. Come on in and enjoy and make your comments if they're appropriate to what we're sharing here. Definitely share this with your friends. So good morning. So my opening line, everybody wants to shine, but nobody wants to polish. So what does that really mean? Hello, Ed. Hello. It means that you absolutely have to be willing to take the time to polish. And what I mean by that is that there is absolutely a learning process. Thank you, Denise. Thank you so much. There is absolutely a learning process for everyone, no matter who you are, when you're building a business, even if you're not doing it online. Of course, a lot of everybody that's here is trying to do it from an online process. So you want to understand that the polishing or the failing and growing is part of your process. Thanks so much, Brian, for sharing this with your followers. And thanks for all the hearts. I love it. Absolutely, you want everybody... You want to shine. You don't want to fail. You don't want to look funny. You don't want to look stupid. You know, I don't use that word, but we use that on ourselves sometimes. And it's really, really important to realize that failure isn't really a permanent thing. It is a place where you learn a little bit about what it is that maybe you need to change to make your success happen. And success really happens through a process of trying things, failing a little bit, maybe having a little piece of success, then going again and trying again, and then finding out that, you know, there's certain things that work and certain things that don't work. And obviously, you have to allow yourself to be a failure along the way to success. And this is really, really, really quick. I'm not looking for a whole long process, but what are your feelings about failure? Are you okay with being a failure? Because you don't have to stay there, obviously. That's not what we're talking about. We're not talking about you have to fail and then quit. The quitting is the permanent. If you don't quit, you don't fail. Yes, fail forward, Brian. That's absolutely true. You have to embrace, absolutely. Fail and fast and lead. Yes, you have to keep on doing that. Yes, absolutely. So my little picture that I was using today, I was using that as a point that what happens to a shoe when you polish it? If it's all scuffed up, doesn't it take quite a bit of polish and quite a bit of pushing and, really working the rag before you get that high polish like you see in that picture? And I'm going to go back to that for a moment. Doesn't it take a little while before you get that high polish that's on that shoe, unless that's a patent leather, which it could be, but the point is that polish didn't happen just by applying the polish and then letting it sit there. It happened because of the elbow grease that was applied after the polish was put on. And then after that, then the shine came. So if you think about that in the regard to your own business and what you need to do and what has to happen, then it means that absolutely you have to polish yourself. You have to be okay with not being perfect all the time. Perfect is a point of actually creating procrastination instead of actual action. Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining. Thanks for all the ones that have just now joined. And thanks for all the hearts. I appreciate it very much. Yes, absolutely. You have to be okay with the fact that you probably will fail a few times. You didn't get on a bicycle the very first time that you rode it and you had never ever been on it before, and you didn't just crash. And you know what? I didn't have training wheels when I rode a bike. I had to learn it by balance. And the training wheels in some ways keeps you up, but it also doesn't really teach you to balance. And the hard part is that somewhere along the line you have to learn the process of balancing on that bike. And the same thing goes with your internet marketing. You have to learn some skills. You have to actually grow as a person, and you have to be okay. Yeah, you got to hit that sidewalk once in a while. And once you do that, you absolutely will learn whatever it takes to actually be successful riding that bicycle. And that's the same case with anything that you do online. It does hurt. The very first time I got onto a bike, I hadn't actually ridden one that has the speeds and has the brakes on the handles. And guess what I did the very first time? I clamped down hard on my left hand brake. Does anyone know what happens when you do that? Whoosh! Over the top of the bike. Yes. And so I learned a little bit of a lesson that you don't want to hit that brake so hard. You want to give it a little more time. And so that's the same thing with your business. Don't absolutely, yeah, front end toss. Absolutely, yes, I did. The same thing goes with your business. You have to be okay with landing on the pavement once in a while. It's not all perfect. Yeah, I think everybody has done that. I'm older, and so the bikes that I grew up with were bikes that had the brake on the pedal. Remember that? The brake was on the pedal. If you push backwards, you brake. And so obviously that's a whole different process to use your hand brakes to brake and to do it in a way that you don't flip over the top of your bike and land on the pavement. So the same thing goes with business. You have to be okay with maybe landing on the pavement a few times, maybe not doing it exactly perfect, maybe being okay with a tweak or two, and absolutely get with your mentor. If you don't have one, I would be glad to help you with that. And also, today we are going to have a training for internet marketing. It's completely free. Lyndas. It's at lyndassimplefreedom.com. That's Lynda, Lynda, SSIMPLE, freedom, FREEDOM.com. And that is where we're going to have a training. We're going to teach you some simple ways that you can build online. So make sure that you connect. And that is right here. I always make sure that you have ways to connect with me. I absolutely will accept your friend request. Just send me a message along with it saying, I just saw you on Periscope, and I will connect with you. And that is a good way for you to get a hold of that link for tonight's training. And I will be talking to you again tonight with some more technique and help. And that is all for now. Bye for now.